Okay, let us continue our discussion of simplifying the pointers and various applications, various functionalities of the pointers. This particular time we are going to discuss about the collaboration of pointers and objects. That means we are going to initialize the objects using a pointers, and we are going to access those objects using the same pointers. Alright, for that we need a class, as you are all aware of that. So if you just take a look at the code, we are having the class item. Fine, just take a look at the highlighted part. We are having the class item. That class item is having two variables defined in the private section, that is c as an integer and d as a float. Okay, inside the public section, this class is having two functions, that is get and put functions. Get function is actually accepting two arguments, and compared to that, put function, we can directly make call to the put function. Apart from that, one more noteworthy detail, and that is the initialization of a constant, that is size constant has been defined with the value 2. That means the value of size will be always 2 because that has been defined as a constant. That means we cannot change the value of a constant. That is the another method of defining something constantly permanently, apart from using the preprocessor directives. That was the first method for defining something as a constant, and this one is going to be a second method for defining the constant, that is using the keyword const. Okay, now if you just take a look at the main definition, you can see the initialization of an object followed by the insertion of the values and retrieval of the values. Okay, in the first part itself, this time using the operators, memory management operators new, we have created a block for accommodating two objects of the class item. You are well aware of the functioning of new operator, and that means we are supposed to execute the statement from the reverse. That means from the reverser part, from the right to left part, if you just take a look, first of all we are going to define 2. The size is a constant, that means the meaning of that size constant is 2. That means we needed something 2. Okay, what entity of something called item? Once again, there is a class. Class cannot be given memory or taken away with the memory. We can actually create an object of that class. So in that context, we are supposed to consider it. We want to create two objects of class item, and for that purpose we are going to use new memory allocation operator. What it is going to do is, for single object of one item class object, we are going to require 6 bytes, 4 bytes for the float and 2 bytes for an integer. That means in total going to be 6 bytes for one object initialization or one object creation. So we are going to create two blocks simultaneously in the sequence. Each block is having the memory allocation of 6 bytes followed by another 6 bytes. So actually you can just take a look at the diagram. In the diagram itself, once again you can see the initialization of two blocks. First one is defined with something 0, that is going to be the name of that block. Another one that will be initialized with 2. If we just take a look at the addresses, that is the first address is given 100. We are just assuming some decimal value. Let me pinpoint this detail. The addresses will always be unsigned integer hexadecimal values, but for the sake of simplicity we are considering the whole numbers, right, decimal numbers. All right, so what it is going to do, this line is going to allocate the blocks accommodating two objects of class item and going to store the starting address of these two blocks, the entire block containing two objects, to pointer star p. Once again, if you just take a look at the special category of this pointer, that is star p, will be always pointing to the object of class item only. That means we have specified, we have confirmed that star p is the pointer of class item only. That means it cannot point to integer, character, float or anywhere else. It can only point to the object of class item only. So once again, if you just take a look at the diagram, you can see the same thing. Pointer star p is pointing at the starting location of the block, that is 100. That is step number 1. Okay, right after that we have initialized one more pointer of the same class. That means pointers d, pointer star d is also item class pointer. That means it can also point to the objects of class item only. Okay, where exactly it is pointing to right now? we have specified that star d pointer will be pointing at the same memory location where star p pointer is pointing to. That means both the pointers are pointing at the same location. Just take a look at the diagram. Here you can see about star p followed by star d. Alright, so both the details are now visible to you. Okay, right next to that we are going to get some values from the user. We are going to store them temporarily in some variables x and y, and then we will be making a function calls. This time the function calls are made using the pointers. So there is a rule, while making a function calls using pointer, we have to compulsory take the arrow operators just shown in the code. That means pointer, arrow operator and function calling. That is going to be the syntax for making a call to the functions. Alright, that means using pointer p, we are making a call to the get function and passing two values as an argument. That means whatever the values we are passing there, those values will be stored temporarily in a and b variables. Okay, from those two variables, it will be later on passed on to the object, to the variables c and d. Where exactly? Into the object where star p pointer is pointing to. That means we are talking about this object. Clear? Are you getting the picture clearly? We are talking about this object. Star p is pointing at memory location 100. In that object we are going to store the values for the variables c and d. Okay, right next to that there is a p++. That means we are going to increment the pointer p. Pointer p is of class type, right? Pointer p is actually of class type pointer. That means the moment we actually increment the pointer, increase the pointer value, it will start pointing at the next block of the same object. Okay, that means now star p will be pointing at the next block. That means it will take a jump, it will take a leap of 6 bytes, because one object of class object will be containing 6 bytes. So that is the reason of jump of 6 bytes. That is the reason of jumping of 6 bytes. Clear? From one object to the next object, there is a jump of 6 bytes. So star p will now point to the next object, that is 106 address. Once again, you can confirm that in the diagram. The same condition, another time values are stored in x and y. Another time function call using pointer, that means arrow operator will be used. Using that operator will be passing the values into a and b. From a and b, temporarily value will be stored from there. The values will be stored in c and d variables of the object which is being pointed by star p pointer. That means we are talking about the object at 106. So is it clear? So this time the values will be stored right here. Clear? Confirm? Okay, one more time. There will be jump p++. That means it will be now going beyond both the blocks. That means it will be pointing to some garbage values. We don't need to bother about it anymore, right? It is totally out of the scope. Okay, so what comes next? So now we have to print the values. Object is at address location 100 and 106. How do we print those values? How do we access those objects which are at the address location 100 and 106? We still have one more option, and that is pointer d, because still the pointer d is pointing at the very beginning of the block. Okay, that will be step number 2. Now we are going to make use of pointer d, and using that pointer we will be printing the values from the object one by one. Okay, if we just take a look at the second phase, fine, we are going to make a call to the function show. Sorry, we don't have to pass any values here. Fine, we just have to make a function call. So d will be making a function call and the values will be printed. In short, it will be accessing the object where star d is pointing to, and that object, inside that object the values of c and d are going to be printed. That means we are talking about this part. Okay, so that is going to be done. Once again, we are going to increment the pointer. Once again, it is of class type pointer. It will take a jump of 6 bytes, right? So once again, star d pointer will be pointing at the next object in the sequence, which is at address location 106. So address at 106 will be pointed, and the same procedure, we are going to make a function call using AIR operator. We are going to access the values of C and D. That means we are supposed to print the values of C and D variables, which is being pointed by the pointer D at the address location 106. Right after that, so once we are done with that, once we are done printing the values at this location, once again there will be the jump for the pointer D. That means it will also point to the next memory location, which is at 112. Of course, we can bring back the pointers, fine. Just like the method, we incremented the values for pointer P, for pointer D. In the same case, in the same manner, we can decrement those values and we can make them point once again to the very origin of the block. That means we can decrement the value of star P and star D 2 times, and both the pointers will be back pointing at the starting of the block. That means at 100 location. Hopefully the entire concept of the pointers to the objects is quite clear to you, everyone. Just thank you.